can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders of RX Bar, Quest Nutrition, Einstein Bagels, and many more, and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Our sponsor today is Rise25.com, which helps service professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, dentists, coaches, anyone working with clients one-on-one. Stop just trading time for dollars. Shift from working one-on-one to one-to-many. You can go to Rise25.com, learn more, download the free Dream Product Ladder, which is basically a business plan on one sheet of paper that helps you see gaps in untapped revenue in your business. Companies like Disney, Apple, sporting industries, they all use versions of the product ladder. Check out Rise25. Today, I am very excited. We have Sarah Chalos, co-founder of I Heart Keenwah with Ravi Jolly. Hey, Sarah. I'm excited because I Heart Keenwah I'm very into health, and anyone who is should check out this company. I Heart Keenwah makes superfoods accessible to consumers with a range of tasty food products, including quinoa-based snacks such as, I made the mistake, Sarah, of going on your website because it just made me hungry. There's Himalayan pink salt chocolate quinoa puffs, peanut butter chocolate quinoa puffs, and many, many more. And we'll talk about the range of products you guys have. And I know I want you to show us some of them. They can be found in thousands of stores across the U.S. and globally in places like Whole Foods, CVS, 7-Eleven, and of course on Amazon and their own website. Before I Heart Keenwah, Sarah studied engineering at MIT, worked in R&D and manufacturing at Abbott Laboratories, earned her MBA at Chicago Booth, consulted for big corporate clients at Bain & Company. The most impressive part is that Sarah does all this while raising 2 kids. Sarah, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I look at even the logos on the packaging are not always easy. So I'm curious, which was the hardest to get? Meaning you have USDA, and this is not for all of them, but most of them, USDA organic, fair trade certified, non-GMO, certified gluten-free, kosher, and vegan. Like each one of those in themselves is a process for you guys to actually, so you can actually put it on the packaging.
Yes.
What was most difficult out of those?
I would say USDA organic is sort of the most stringent. I mean, it's very clear what the requirements are, but to have a product that is 100% organic is very expensive and, requires very full traceability. So that's why not all of our products are certified organic. Yeah. But all of our products are certified non-GMO, which is also very difficult. They do a really good job of tracing all the ingredients back to all the subcomponents, and that is, from a documentation perspective, takes a really long time. Plus, everybody, when that certification came out, everybody was trying to get it, and so the non-GMO project was really backlogged. And so they'd ask you a follow-up question, and then 3 months later, they would look the support and documentation you sent in. So yeah, those are all challenging certifications to get. But I think it's important, because the consumer really needs to have
people care.
Confidence. Yeah.
And I didn't know, because you guys source from Bolivia. So talk a little about, because the Bolivian quinoa is different from other regions.
Yes. Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah.
No, the Bolivian quinoa, we believe, is truly superior to other quinoa sourced from other areas. So it's an heirloom seed. It's never been genetically modified, and so it has really great qualities when you cook it. It's going to cook up to be it's a larger seed. It cooks up to be a lot fluffier than quinoa from other areas. So quinoa that's grown in Peru, for example, the Peruvian government did a really great job trying to increase their exports of quinoa because they do realize there's so much demand, global demand, right? But in order to increase their exports so much, they started planting twice a year, and they started planting near the ocean, which is not where quinoa is naturally growing. So they had to genetically modify it to make it be able to be pesticide resistant. They also spray it with a lot of pesticides by the ocean. So they don't have to do any of that in the Bolivian Altiplano, because that's kind of where quinoa was meant to be grown. cold and high altitude, and the soil there, it's been fertilized by llamas for thousands of years, right? So there's a really unique profile to the soil there. And so you get this really great seed and this great flavor from the Bolivian quinoa that you don't get anywhere else. If you would see it, if you put the seeds side by side, it's clear.
One's just much bigger than the other one.
Right, exactly. And what you can do when it's bigger also is toast it. So you don't burn it when it's small seed is really easy to burn. And when you toast the quinoa, you get this really nice nutty flavor, just like you would toast rice. A lot of people do that. It
toasted coconut. I've had the toasted coconut stuff too.
Exactly.
Because you had the clusters, then you have the puffs, and you do have toasted products too, right?
Right. Yeah. So this would be our toasted quinoa grain. So this, maybe you can see it there. The seeds. So this is meant to be simmered. It's just a rice substitute. You use it like you would rice. And this is toasted, and it's Bolivian. This is our Bolivian flag here.
Yes. Can you
and then we have
right out of the package, though? You
can put, if you're a diehard quinoa aficionado, you can put it on your salad and get it right out of the package. But
most people cook it like rice.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
You can put it in a stir fry. You can bake with it. We also have quinoa flakes, which you can tell I've been eating. The top is open, but I eat them for breakfast every day. So you can eat them for breakfast like oatmeal. You can use them in baking. You can make protein balls out of them. And this also, we use Bolivian flakes that are toasted.
Is that the hot cereal piece?
Yeah.
So people eat it like oatmeal, essentially.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's super quick cooking, like a minute and a half.
I'll have to try that. Would the toasted quinoa work well? I've just experimented with putting them in coconut milk and letting them soak up, like a rice pudding type of thing.
Yeah.
Would that work good for something like that?
Yeah, for sure. And that toasted just really enhances the flavor even more, the toasting.
Yeah, and you guys, if anyone, if you go to I Heart Keenwah, and by the way, it's spelled out phonetically. It's not the Q, but it's I Heart and then KEENWAH. You can check out actually a lot of the recipes on there, which all look really good.
Yes,
as well.
That's the favorite part of our website. You can track where people are going, and that's where people are always going.
Really? What's your go-to quinoa recipe at home for the family?
My favorite is just regular toasted quinoa, fluffed with a fork, and then putting avocado, olive oil, and coarse sea salt on it. It's a really simple combination, but it's so delicious.
Yeah. There's one person that we were talking before about. You guys should talk because it would be a perfect combination. This guy interviewed, it's Jacobsen salt, and they make it all kind of handmade, coarse salt. So you guys should talk from a personal perspective, from a business perspective. I bought their black garlic salt. It would probably go really well on your products too. I
see a collaboration in our future.
Yeah. So I guess the other thing I was curious about is you were talking about kind of the goals, 2018, a big push, and talk about a little bit about what's kind of on the horizon for I Heart Keenwah.
Yeah, I think 2018 is going to be a big year for us because we're finally at the table with some much bigger retailers. At the beginning, like we talked about, we're going store to store and just selling to, mom and pop health food stores. But now we're sitting at the table with Kroger, with Target, with Ahold, with CVS. And so those are our top priorities for 2018, focusing on those 4 retailers and making sure that we execute really successfully there, because those are opportunities that, they only come once and you wait a long time to get them. And so we want to make sure we really support them as well as we can and develop really strong strategies, tailor our strategies for each retailer, because each retailer is different and has different, tools in their toolkit. So we're really excited about that.
And for a long time, it was the two of you. At what point did you decide you needed to bring on someone else?
When I was staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning every morning processing orders. It's like, there's too much. So, you get to a point. It's a little bit of a step function, right? You can't hire somebody like when you just have too much work because you can't afford them. So you have to have way too much work on your plate, and then you can afford to hire somebody. Right.
So what did you decide to hire for first? What was the biggest thing you were
We hired
looking
an
for?
operations person first, somebody to just, because you're working so much in the business that you can't work on growing the business at a certain point, right? You're processing all the orders and ordering the ingredients, and just all the logistics of the business are, and all the financial aspect as well, processing the invoices and collecting from people who didn't pay and making sure you're closing your books every month like that. All of that takes a lot of time. And so we hired an operations person to take all of those sort of day-to-day tasks on.
Yeah, especially when you have so many vendors.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of them don't pay.
On time.
Exactly.
What would be next, like for the company, for the expansion? What would you look for next as far as bringing another skill set on?
So marketing for sure was our second hire because, like we talked about, nobody knows who you are. And so having somebody on board who can help develop the brand and, what do you stand for and what, all of the social media communications, all of our event management, being at gluten-free shows and vegan festivals and
endless amounts probably of those things. Which do you choose?
Exactly. Yeah, and if you don't have somebody to work on that, I think you're not creating a brand, and that's really what we wanted to do is be the brand that people think of when they think of quinoa.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think it's sales. We need more people going into stores and being feet on the street.
There's only so many. Again, you're busy running the company of a family. There's only so many conferences and things you can go to. Which ones do you choose to spend your time at?
The Natural Products Expo is for sure the most important for our brand, just because that we fit squarely in that space. So there's a Natural Products Expo East and West,
Yep.
And then after that there's fancy food shows and a winter one and a summer one, and then after that there's a tier of so those are all sort of trade shows where you can meet grocery buyers and industry folks, and then there's the other set is the consumer facing shows. So there we really focus on gluten-free and vegan and vegetarian, because that's like our, the most die-hard excited consumers, and so we want to reach as many of them as we can.
And then what, Sarah, would you say has worked best for marketing and what hasn't worked of what you thought would work for getting the word out?
Yeah, it's tough. It's that's the age-old question. There's definitely no silver bullet, I would say. Everybody says, what should I do next? We did a lot of demos, and the demos I think are
demos at grocery stores, or where do you do them?
Grocery stores, right? Yeah. So bringing your table and your samples, and getting people to try it, and then they can buy it right there. So that's nice because it's really close to the point of sale. I think you need to have some money. You don't get an immediate ROI on that. I think it's a very long ROI. So if we looked at how many bags we sold at each product demo, we were never breaking even. So,
Right.
So you need to have some money on hand if you're going to take that strategy. Social media has been a great way for us to kind of get the word out at a pretty low cost. You need to either have the skill set in-house or be able to hire somebody to take beautiful pictures, because that really is what engages
Especially
people.
for your type of product, yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for food, it's just a must-have. So, but that's a way to reach a lot of people and get the word out pretty effectively.
Yeah. So this has been fantastic. I have two last questions, but I want to just tell people go check out iheartquinoa.com. Like I said, spelled phonetically, KEENWAH.com. So I always ask, because it's Inspired Insider, what has been the lowest moment in the business, and then what has been, on the flip side, what's been one of the proudest moments?
The lowest moment, I would say, was we had a recall early on in our development. It happened at our small co-packer whom we no longer work with, and it was pretty gross negligence on their part, but they did that when the FDA was there, and I thought we weren't. Right, exactly. I definitely thought we weren't going to make it. I thought, I was on vacation with my family, and I spent the whole vacation, in a room, like trying to sort out, what product went where, and trace it, and talk to the FDA, and tell them how we're going to remedy it. And it was, for sure, that was the lowest point.
I guess it's a good thing when you were small and didn't have as much distribution, because it was probably a headache and horrible then, but now it would have been even worse. So
yeah, for sure. And it's probably good that it happened, because I think it made us realize, how we need to be, how it is super important to have that traceability and to really have confidence in your manufacturing partners. But yeah, it was scary.
I get nervous even thinking about that, actually. So on the flip side, what's one of the proudest moments?
On the flip side, I would say, anytime we get into a retailer, it's just this really joyous moment and something where you're just like, you're screaming out loud, like, yeah, we did it. That is something that it's really a roller coaster of emotions. And I think that's why I like doing this is you feel it so viscerally, right? The lows are really low and the highs are really high. And so getting that sort of affirmation and like, okay, we just got into another 200 stores. Oh, we just got into another 600 stores. Yeah. Like that feeling is, exactly, unparalleled.
Sarah, congratulations. This is, and everything you guys have accomplished. It's not easy, and you continue to strive ahead and be successful. So everyone should check out iheartquinoa.com. Where else should we point people towards online?
You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on Thrive Market, iHerb, pretty much anywhere that sells natural products. But
all right, thank you again, Sarah. I want to be the first one. Thank you so much for your time on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Nice to talk with you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.